We begin with President Biden's failing attempt to restore Americans' confidence in his leadership. As the country faces a record-breaking surge at our southern border, rising crime rates, soaring gas prices, and historic inflation. And now critics warn that Biden's next crisis could be a recession. So as the president tries to convince Americans he's got this, moments like this one here in North Carolina yesterday, are just not helping.
God bless you all.
Yikes. That wasn't all. There were several other moments, but I have a compilation of moments I put together because there was one moment yesterday, a tall tale reminiscent of other ones that the president has told. Let's take a listen.
And if we
I
don't
used to drive an 18-wheeler, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish
Oh,
I
yeah?
could.
That's
I
awesome.
got to. I've been on a lot of university campuses. Matter of fact, for 4 years, I was a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Hey, they got kidding, man. Seems like yesterday, the first time I got arrested. Anyway.
Full professor for 2 years, a driver of an 18-wheeler. He's been arrested. Did I ever tell you, Jimmy, I was a world champion sumo wrestler? Just wanted to get that out there.
You look like one. I always wondered.
I was technically a champion horseback rider if you count the quarter my mom put in the horse outside the supermarket. This is crazy.
You know, horseback rider.
Yeah. Well, Emily's actually done a lot of things, I'll say.
I mean, but not as many as ride horses in their life.
Yeah, she actually rides real horses. But yeah, Joe Biden is like the Dos Equis most interesting man in the world. He's done everything on earth. Yeah. But it's kind of scary. And I feel like we're going to get to this point where it becomes expensive because the band has to play like 8 renditions of every song now because it takes so long to get off the stage. We're going to have to start paying the band overtime. Like what we saw yesterday was disturbing. And understand this. The left, if you remember, once watched Donald Trump walk gingerly down a ramp at West Point in the rain. And we're like, oh, he's got Alzheimer's. Joe Biden fist bumps a ghost. And they're like, no, nothing to see here. Nothing to worry about. And how much must this hurt Kamala Harris's feelings? That her approval rating is so low that this guy is literally shaking hands with invisible people, and we're still not talking 25th Amendment. Speaking
of which, let's replay that moment from yesterday when he tries to shake hands with its non-existent supporters.
God bless you all.
Julie, what a metaphor for the presidency.
I feel so bad. I mean, he's an elderly man, so I sympathize for him. It's just the problem is he happens to be the president of the United States. Because normally, if that was my father, I would say, okay, I would take his driver's license away. I mean, in all honesty. But it's not a driver's license. He has a driver's license to drive this country into a ditch. I mean, that's the unfortunate part. He's not only trying to shake a ghost, he's also looking at the flag as if it's a person, which, I mean, I salute the flag too, but I don't talk to it. Which at one point during his speech earlier when he was talking about his deceased father, he turned to the flag and started talking to the flag. I don't know if he mistook the flag for his father. I really wasn't sure what was going on there. I feel sorry for him, though, but I also feel more sorry for us as a country because I'm a little scared. I mean, who's making the decisions?
That is another key question. Perfect segue. He told us that he's ready to go to Ukraine yesterday, but Jen Psaki says not so much. Listen.
Will you send senior officials to Ukraine?
We're making that decision now. Thank you.
Who would you send?
What was the reason?
You ready to go?
Yeah.
Is sending the president to Ukraine something that you guys have like talked about? I know there's no plan. Like, is it something that you guys are discussing?
No.
Okay.
No.
So he's ready. He's just not like.
He is ready. He's ready for anything. The man likes a fast car, some aviators. He's ready to go to Ukraine. It's true. He does. We are not sending the president to Ukraine.
Who is this we, Emily, making all the decisions?
I mean, so here we have the White House press secretary that has reduced the commander-in-chief to a caricature. right? That's what she did right there, which is fine if we were in a novel or a sitcom, but we're in the actual United States. And when I see him, and I agree with you, there's such a level of empathy and compassion people have, especially made all the worse by the presidential music, because it's just so heartbreaking, frankly. But this to me reminds me of when someone is sentenced, for example, for a crime they committed like 3 decades prior, and everyone feels really sorry for them, but it doesn't dilute the severity of the crime, because no matter what kind of empathy you feel for this feeble old man, and he sees dead people and he stumbles and fumbles, he's like Catch Me If You Can, but not as hot as Leo DiCaprio with all of his positions that he held. The reality is he is the leader of the free world. The reality is that millions of people are dying under oppressive regimes and invasions from Putin and Ukraine, and we are standing by doing nothing while the White House bats cleanup for this elderly person that frankly has left a mess in his wake. 13 service members died in Afghanistan. Inflation is skyrocketing, historical high. Gas prices are high. The value of the dollar is low. Americans are feeling it in their pocket every day. So when I look at that old man on the screen, I feel compassion for one instant, and then I feel regret, and I feel shame, and I wish to God there was another person in that seat.
Yeah, and the reality is even CNN knows it's bad. Watch this. How low can you go?
The lowest are tied for the low for the pollster. Lowest tier, lowest tier. This is 1 point off the lowest tier. And when you have 3 or 4 pollsters showing the lowest numbers for the President of the United States, that is indicative of a president who's in a lot of trouble, at least to where he has standed historically. Well, there was always that thing, oh, Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating at this point in his presidency. A first-term president at this point in his presidency, this is the lowest. This is a really, really, really bad number.
I don't know how many times he said low, Dagan, but it was a lot.
It took 3 reallys. It
Really?
wasn't just bad. It was really, really, really bad. I have to at least raise this issue. Is Joe Biden putting this on a little bit?
No.
Is he playing into the notion that, oh, I'm fumbling, wouldn't this White House rather us talk about him trying to shake hands with the ghost, throwing out the word genocide, talking about driving an 18-wheeler, or I'm going to Ukraine, rather than talking about the fact that working men and women are struggling to make ends meet, that their purchasing power is in decline because of inflation. They've spent more than $1 trillion in their savings. Their wages are falling almost 3% when you adjust for that inflation. And now that the Federal Reserve is having to try and put out this wildfire created by the central bank and the Biden administration, that you're going to have interest rates go up. Buying a home is going to cost you today versus a year ago an extra $500 in a mortgage payment because longer-term interest rates have already skyrocketed. We're headed for a recession. I called it at the end of last year on the Fives New Year's special, that's where we're going. So what's he going to be doing when the U.S. is in a recession at the end of the year? They're going to be like pratfalls and him rolling down flights of stairs and jumping up. But to avoid the American people and people who wear microphones from talking about the disaster that this administration has created.
But the only reason because I think it's a funny strategy, but the only reason I don't think it's real is because all of their other strategy is so bad. They couldn't think of anything this clever. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is, I think, and we're all agreeing, is let's never order a president through the mail again.
Or from a basement. Like through the mail from a basement.
Through the mail. Can we all do this the old-fashioned way from here on in? We don't need mail-order presidents.
Mail-order presidents. Jimmy, that's a great one.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.